The Young and the Restless spoilers Martin's Mirage, a perfect drama in the shadows of Genoa, in the labyrinthine alleys of Genoa, where secrets blend with the salty sea breeze and every corner hides a whispered story. A dramatic tale unfolded that would leave the city breathless and its inhabitants questioning the boundaries of truth and deception. It began with a prediction, one that emerged from the restless mind of Tracy. In her fevered imagination, she had seen Martin, the ever-elusive trickster of Genoa, boarding the last flight of the day. According to her hunch, he had jumped onto the plane in a desperate bid to flee the city that had witnessed his most cunning deceptions. But as the hours wore on, and the final call for boarding echoed through the terminal, it became apparent that this was nothing more than a forewarning, a mere conjecture, for now, no one could reach him. Tracy's heart pounded with a mix of anger and despair. The thought of Martin evading responsibility or leaving behind a trail of chaos was intolerable. She felt that no matter how much she might try, fate seemed unyielding, locked in a perpetual cycle of betrayal and mystery. Yet, just when her emotions teetered on the brink of explosive indignation, an earth-shattering twist shattered the calm of that fateful day. News had just broken out across Genoa. The very plane Martin was believed to have boarded had exploded in midair. The skies, once an expanse of serene blue, were now stained with the dark hues of tragedy and disbelief. In that singular moment, as the news reverberated through every street and whispered conversation, Tracy stood frozen in shock. The horror of the explosion mingled with her own conflicting feelings, a deep regret for the man she once loved. Despite Martin's notorious reputation, and the many layers of deception that had long defined him, there lingered in Tracy's heart a hope that perhaps beneath that guileful exterior lay a capacity to love her in return. The disaster sparked a maelstrom of questions. Was this a calculated act on Martin's part? Could it be that he had orchestrated the entire charade, knowing full well that the plane was doomed? Some whispered in the shadowed corners of Genoa's cafes that Martin had never intended to board that flight at all. In his inscrutable manner, he had cleverly manipulated the situation to mislead everyone, including those closest to him, ensuring that he remained untouchable in the city he controlled so masterfully. As the investigation unfolded and the charred remains of the aircraft were meticulously combed through for clues, a sinister possibility began to take shape. Martin, ever the puppet master, had likely engineered the illusion of his escape. His true plan was to remain ensconced within the familiar confines of Genoa, weaving a web of deceit that would confound even the most astute observers. To the outside world, it appeared as if he had risked everything on a daring getaway, only for the truth to be as elusive as a mirage in the desert. In the days that followed, the city was abuzz with theories and speculation. Authorities, desperate for leads, found themselves entangled in a puzzle that seemed to defy logic. Every piece of evidence, every eyewitness account, painted a picture of deliberate misdirection. Rumors swirled that Martin, a man who had always been 3 steps ahead of his pursuers, had faked his departure to buy himself more time to manipulate the unfolding drama. His absence on that ill-fated flight, it turned out, was not an act of cowardice or escape, it was a calculated move to keep everyone guessing. For Tracy, the revelation was as painful as it was revelatory. The man she had once dreamed of, despite all his flaws, had deceived her in the most profound way possible. As she grappled with the knowledge that Martin was still very much in Genoa, her anger and sorrow coalesced into a bitter determination. The explosion, meant to serve as a symbolic act of liberation or finality, had instead become a harbinger of deeper betrayal. It was a performance, a grand, macabre spectacle orchestrated by a master manipulator who reveled in his ability to control the narrative. Yet, within this darkness, Tracy found herself forced to confront the complexities of her own heart. The love she harbored for Martin was a tangled tapestry woven with threads of passion, regret, and the haunting allure of what might have been. Even as the evidence mounted against him, and every rational instinct screamed that he was beyond redemption, a part of her could not let go of the hope that perhaps, in the depths of his treachery, there remained a spark of genuine emotion. As Genoa struggled to come to grips with the tragedy of the exploding plane, its citizens were left to ponder the nature of fate and the extent to which even the most brilliant deceivers could orchestrate a perfect drama. Martin's actions had cast a long shadow over the city, igniting debates about morality, loyalty, and the price of ambition. The narrative was as complex as it was heartbreaking, a stark reminder that in the world of Genoa, every smile hid a secret, and every goodbye could be a prelude to an even greater betrayal. In the end, the saga of Martin and Tracy was not just a story of one man's duplicitous schemes, but also a reflection of the fragile nature of human relationships. It was a cautionary tale about the dangers of misplaced trust and the high stakes of playing with fire. For Tracy, the journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, a relentless search for truth amid a web of lies that threatened to consume her. And for Martin, the ultimate puppet master, his perfect drama continued to unfold, leaving behind a trail of questions that would haunt Genoa for years to come. This intricate dance of love, deceit, and retribution encapsulated the very essence of Genoa's soul. A city where every heart carried its own scars, and every twist of fate was a reminder that the line between hero and villain was often as thin as a whisper in the wind. As the echoes of the explosion faded into memory, the residents of Genoa were left with a somber truth. In a world ruled by cunning and ambition, even the most calculated plans could unravel in a single, devastating moment. Under the veil of secrets, the mirage in the sky and the hazy aftermath of the catastrophic explosion that had shaken Genoa to its core, chaos reigned supreme. The once familiar skyline was now marred by swirling dust and scattered debris, a grim tableau that mirrored the shattered hearts and fractured loyalties of those left behind. Among them, Tracy found herself gripped by a desperate determination. With her heart pounding and her mind racing with memories of Martin, the enigmatic man whose every move had confounded and captivated her, she raced to the site of the explosion, hoping against hope to recover even a single trace of his presence. Tracy's footsteps echoed over the debris-strewn ground as she arrived at the crash site. Her eyes scanned the wreckage, desperately seeking any sign that could confirm Martin's fate. But as she moved closer, the magnitude of the disaster became all too apparent. The explosion had been so colossal that it had obliterated everything in its path. The wreckage was a chaotic jumble of twisted metal and shattered glass, leaving no identifiable remains behind. Every familiar feature had been erased, swallowed up by the violence of the blast. Standing amidst the ruins, Tracy felt as if the very essence of Martin had been reduced to nothing more than scattered memories and unanswerable questions. Her heart ached not only from the grief of potentially losing the man she had loved, but also from the stark realization that nothing was as it seemed. In the midst of her despair, a somber voice reached her ears. Jack's measured tone, filled with both caution and urgency. He had gathered a small group of trusted allies, and with a grave expression he warned, this might just be another act in his grand performance. We need to remain vigilant, keep our mouths shut, and guard our secrets closely. Jack's words resonated deeply with Tracy, serving as a reminder that, in Genoa, trust was a rare and dangerous commodity. The possibility that Martin's disappearance might have been nothing more than an elaborate ruse sent ripples of uncertainty through her already tormented soul. The complexity of the situation deepened further when whispers of a new threat began to circulate. Ashley, a spirited and intelligent woman who had navigated the treacherous undercurrents of Genoa's social labyrinth before, was now being cautioned as well. Be careful, Ashley, Jack had confided in a hushed tone. There's talk that you could be the next target, just like what happened in Paris. His warning carried the weight of painful experience and hard-earned wisdom. Ashley had once brushed off such dangers as mere exaggerations, but now she understood that in a city where betrayal and death danced hand in hand, even the slightest misstep could lead to disaster. Amid these swirling intrigues, the specter of familial treachery loomed large, a dark shadow cast by a man so dangerous that he had even dared to kill his own brother. This revelation added another layer of peril to the unfolding drama, underscoring the depths to which some were willing to sink in the ruthless pursuit of power and control. The mere mention of this atrocity ignited a tremor of fear among the city's elite, a chilling reminder that no one was truly safe in a world where loyalty was fleeting and betrayal lurked around every corner. As the investigation into the explosion began in earnest, authorities and insiders alike were forced to confront an unsettling truth. Every clue seemed meticulously arranged to mislead, every piece of evidence carefully curated to hide a deeper, more sinister plan. It was as if someone had orchestrated the entire scene, knowing that the shock and confusion would provide the perfect cover for a far more elaborate game. Martin, with his characteristic cunning and flair for deception, was now at the heart of this puzzle. His disappearance from the doomed flight, the chaos at the crash site, and the subsequent warnings from trusted allies all hinted at a meticulously crafted illusion, one that only a mastermind like him could devise. In hushed meetings in shadowed corners of dimly lit cafes, trusted friends exchanged theories about Martin's true intentions. Some argued that the explosion had been engineered as a dramatic diversion, a way to allow Martin to vanish into the labyrinth of Genoa's underworld undetected. Others whispered that the entire event might have been staged from the start, a macabre performance designed to unsettle rivals and secure his enigmatic hold over the city's undercurrents. In every conversation, the recurring question remained, was Martin really the architect of his own disappearance, or had fate conspired to deliver him a final, fatal twist? Tracy's own inner turmoil was a tempest of conflicting emotions. In one moment, she longed to denounce Martin's deceit, to cast him out as the manipulator he had proven himself to be. In another, she felt an inexplicable pull, a lingering hope that, beneath the layers of trickery and danger, there might be a part of Martin that cared for her as deeply as she had cared for him. This internal battle, fought against a backdrop of swirling rumors and shattered alliances, left her emotionally and physically drained. Every step she took was a painful reminder of the love she had lost and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Jack's warnings, delivered with the calm authority of someone who had witnessed too many betrayals to be taken lightly, urged everyone to remain silent and observant. Sometimes the greatest danger lies not in what we see, but in what we assume, he would say. His words became a mantra for those who understood that in a city like Genoa, where every secret was a weapon and every whispered conversation a potential trap, silence was sometimes the only shield against the chaos. Meanwhile, Ashley, now aware that she might be the next pawn in this deadly game, adopted a cautious approach. She retreated into a world of careful observation and discreet planning. Her every move was calculated, her interactions measured. In the shadows of Paris, a city known for its own dark secrets, she found herself walking a tightrope between survival and exposure. The danger was palpable, and with each passing day, the possibility of becoming entangled in a murder plot that had already claimed the lives of those close to Martin grew ever more real. As the days bled into nights, the city of Genoa itself seemed to hold its breath, caught in a state of suspended tension. The explosion, with its shattering force and irreversible consequences, had become a symbol of the unpredictable and often treacherous nature of life. Its memory was etched into the collective consciousness of the city's inhabitants, a stark reminder that in a world ruled by deception and ambition, the line between performance and reality was perilously thin. For Tracy, the journey that had begun with a desperate search for Martin's remains had evolved into something far more profound. It was no longer merely a quest for a lost lover, it was a confrontation with the harsh truths of her existence and the intricate web of lies that had ensnared her. Every shattered fragment at the crash site, every whispered warning from Jack, was a clue to a mystery that ran deeper than any one person. The realization that Martin might still be orchestrating events from behind a veil of smoke and mirrors forced her to question everything she thought she knew about loyalty, love, and trust. In the dim glow of early morning, as the remnants of the explosion were slowly cleared away and the first light of day began to pierce the gloom, Tracy stood at the threshold of a new and uncertain chapter. The silence around her was heavy with unspoken truths, and the city itself seemed to murmur secrets of its own. With Jack's words echoing in her mind and the lingering fear of what might come next, she resolved to press on, undaunted by the dangerous dance of deception that lay ahead. For in Genoa, where every smile concealed a secret and every goodbye might be the prelude to a new betrayal, the pursuit of truth was a perilous endeavor. And as Tracy, Ashley, Jack, and the others navigated this labyrinth of intrigue, one thing became abundantly clear. In a city where the line between reality and performance was blurred beyond recognition, only those with the courage to face the shadows head-on could hope to survive the storm. Thus, as the drama continued to unfold under the ever-watchful eyes of a city steeped in secrets, one immutable truth remained: the game of love, betrayal, and survival in Genoa was far from over. And in this relentless theater of life, every heart carried its own hidden scars, every whispered secret had the power to ignite a revolution, and every carefully guarded secret was both a shield and a sword in the battle for redemption.